Hey everyone, it's Miranda. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hey, for the first time, why don't you subscribe? Become the newest member of the Slashed Squad. Here I review products you won't feel guilty buying and do looks you can actually recreate at home. Today we're talking about two new palettes from Profusion Cosmetics at Target that you can pick up during the holiday season, and that is their Wanderlust eyeshadow palette and their highlight and contour palette. So Profusion Cosmetics is a brand that's available both in stores and online at Target that has been slowly working its way into my daily routine. I'm really enjoying their eyeshadows particularly. I've shared a few of their other palettes both here and on my blog, but when they sent me their Wanderlust palette a couple weeks ago, it really got me hyped because of how much color I'm seeing. I think we've finally gotten the message across to drugstore makeup brands that we want a little more color in our lives. We don't need any more neutral eyeshadow palettes and rose gold eyeshadow palettes. So this one really got me excited with just how vibrant it looked. Now, just looking at this palette, right off the bat, I feel like it does lean a little bit green, which is what inspired this green eyeshadow look today, which I will be showing a little bit later in this video. But yeah, as far as the color scheme, it's definitely cool tone. We've got the greens, a little bit of blue, and then some pink and purple vibes. Now we do have a few neutral shades that are nice to just add into the mix, kind of ground some of those colors. But for the most part, I feel like this palette is meant for dramatic looks. Now, of course, something that I always look for in eyeshadow palettes, regardless of whether they are neutral or bold, is the balance between mattes and shimmers. Now I will say that this palette does lean pretty shimmery. However, we do have some staple matte shades. We have kind of a creamy yellow up here that's matte, that's nice for a base shade or a matte highlight. All of the brown neutrals down here are matte, which I think are very helpful. We have a few bold matte shades here, a kind of fuchsia, violet, and blue, and then we've got a matte purple as well. I wish that we had one matte green. All of our greens are shimmery and satin. I feel like that would have really balanced the palette, just one more matte green. However, for the most part, I'm glad they at least were thoughtful enough to include some of these matte shades and in the darker colors, so that way we can really define our eyes with a crease shade. So I've been finding that the Profusion palettes that look like this, where they are the bigger palettes, 21 shades, versus the smaller ones in like the long tins, these shadows I feel kind of perform a little better. I'm not sure what the difference is in the formulas, if there is even a difference, but I don't know. I've just found that with these larger Profusion palettes, these shades are pigmented, they're a little bit more smooth, very blendable, and in general hold up really well. And this Wanderlust palette has really taken that to another level with all of these shimmery colors. A lot of the times when I'm working with color from the drugstore, especially in the green and blue category, when you have a shimmery green or blue and you start blending it and diffusing it, sometimes it ends up reading very gray. I don't know if anyone else has had this problem, but it's something that I encounter a lot. And I really like blue and green eyeshadow looks, so it's always a bummer when I start blending it out and it just looks so different than when you're staring at it in the pan. But with this palette, I've found that especially with the greens, which is, you know, the majority of my look today, as I was blending them out, it maintained the vibrancy and it maintained the actual shade. I didn't see any shifting going on. And so that experience actually makes this probably one of the better green toned eyeshadow palettes at the drugstore, at least that I've ever tried. I also worked a couple of the neutral shades into this look, and I was just really surprised, especially with the mattes, how pigmented they were and how smooth they were. And between the mattes and the shimmers, they blend together really nicely without getting muddy. So I'm just gonna cut to some quick arm swatches here. Okay, this is like the easiest angle for me to share with you swatches. So here is Illusion, gorgeous like pearl white highlight. Then we have Tranquil. This is kind of a buttery yellow matte. A little bit on the powdery side, but it blends out really nicely. I've been using this as a base shade actually. Chill is your champagne-y gold. Serious is kind of a money green. Very shimmery. Oh, there's actually gold shimmer in here too. I did not even know that. Wow, that's really pretty. Frosting is a very frosty white shade, but it's got like this lavender undertone to it. Then we have Gravity, which is a really, really pretty pinky purple shifty shade. Then we have a Love Story, kind of a rosy pink. This one's a little bit more shimmery, so it's not as like pigmented when you swipe it across, but when you pat it, you get a lot of that glitter, I guess you could say. Yeah, it's more of a glitter shade. And we have Majesty, which you'll see in my eye tutorial. Beautiful light green. Hypnotic is a beautiful emerald green. So pigmented, so buttery. Jade is self-explanatory, like a jade green. Then we have Stormy, which is kind of an aqua blue. Beautiful. Then we have Splash, which is just the most gorgeous blue ever. Oh my lord. Then Regal is a matte purple. Again, so much color payoff. Nimbus is kind of like a, I don't even know what this color is. It's definitely a glittery shade, maybe fuchsia? Is that what fuchsia is? Then next we have 3 neutral shades that are all matte and so smooth. This is Coast, which is kind of like a cool toned brown. Not kind of, like it is. Statement is a little warmer, very pretty for transitioning. And then Nostalgia is a warm dark brown. Then we have Cruise, which is a teal. Enigma is a dark blue, kind of navy. This one's a little bit stiffer than the other mattes, but you still do get a nice color payoff when you build it up. And I use this in the tutorial as well. Retro is kind of a violet shade or an indigo maybe. This one again is a little bit stiffer, but still you get a lot of good color payoff. And then Go Girl is a nice deep pink. This is also matte. The last 3 shades I've swatched are matte. Check that out. So for this look, I channeled my inner, I don't know, Shigo from Kim Possible. Is that a reference that is still understood nowadays? Oh no. But anyway, I really was inspired by all the green shades in the palette to create this kind of green and gold look, a color combo that I love. I did go a little bit outside the palette for the glitter in the inner corners. I just thought that it needed like that finishing touch, you know? So I'm just gonna show you how I created this look now. We're gonna go straight into the Profusion Wanderlust palette and use Hypnotic as our transition shade. So like one thing that I noticed when I started using this palette for the first time is that, you know, greens are a hard shade to get right. I feel like, especially in budget-friendly palettes. With this palette, it seems to really hold on to the pigment even when you diffuse it. I have a little bit of dry skin on my eyelid. I do get eczema this time of year. I'm gonna use Illusion to highlight right under my brow. So I'm gonna be going back and forth between a brown and blue shade in my crease and outer corner area. I'm gonna be starting with the shade Nostalgia, which is a dark brown. And I'm gonna go ahead and pat that in my outer corner and bring it a little bit into my crease as well, but not going any farther than like the outer third of my eyelid. Then I'm just gonna use the same brush that I applied the green shade with to blend the brown to be a little less harsh. Now I'm gonna go in with Enigma, which is a dark blue, and I'm going to layer that right on top of the brown. And I find the layering technique to just kind of soften up the blue a little bit so it's not so jewel toned, if that makes sense. And I'm gonna bring that a little bit in further into my crease so that way when we get that cut, we have a nice definition. I'm gonna bring Hypnotic down to my lower lash line as well. So here's where we're at so far, and now I'm going to do a half cut crease. I like to pat down the concealer after I've cut my crease just to make sure that it's even and set. I'm gonna start out using Chill in my inner corner, pretty much like the first third of my lid. And then for the middle portion of the lid, I'm gonna go in with Majesty. Okay, so obviously this is a really harsh contrast between the lid and then the rest of the look. So I am gonna go in with the blue shade Enigma that we used to layer with the brown, and I'm gonna use it to blend the corner into the rest of the lid, just very lightly dusting it on top. And I am gonna be layering this blue a little bit onto the Majesty shade to get it to be a little bit more of a gradient. And I'm also gonna bring Chill onto the lower lash line, the inner portion. And I'm tightlining with the L'Oreal Infallible pencil in black. I'm also gonna be using the pencil on my upper lash line and then smoking that out with a fluffy brush. And then just to add a little bit of shimmer to this look, I'm using the BH Cosmetics Glitter Collection Loose Glitter in Smoky Gold on top of the NYX Glitter Primer. And I'm just putting that in my inner corner for a little bit of sparkle. And then just finishing off the look with some mascara. And this is the finished eye look. So I want to finish my makeup look using some of the other products from the Profusion Holiday Collection. This is the highlight and contour palette. Haven't used this yet. And I really like the variety that they gave us in this palette. I feel like it's no frills. You really just have everything you need, and it's still very compact. I'm a little bit not liking the packaging though, because this top part is like flimsy plastic. So I'm not sure how protective this packaging is, but this is definitely something that I would take traveling with me otherwise. So we have warm and cool sculpting shades, as well as kind of a beigey light shade if you are on the paler side for bronzing. We have a shimmery highlighter called Opal Glow, and then 2 matte highlighting shades, one vanilla and one peach light. These would also be really great for setting like concealer. So I'm gonna go ahead and use Medium Chisel, which is our cooler sculpting shade, and put that under my cheekbones. Oh wow, I can already tell by looking at the brush that this is actually gonna be pretty pigmented. Oh wow. Yeah, that does not take a lot to start seeing. That's actually, might be a little too cool for me right now. I mean, I did just get back from vacation, so I do have a little bit of like a tan. Let me try Warm Sculpt on top. Yeah, that looks a little bit better with my skin tone right now, believe it or not. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of mix the Warm Sculpt and Medium Chisel just because that's what's looking good on my skin. Yeah, I came back from Jamaica and none of my foundations match me. It's been like a struggle trying to compensate with bronzer. Yeah, I'm really liking this formula. It's super blendable and really good color payoff. Okay, I just went ahead and added some mauve blush since obviously there's no option here. And I'm just gonna go in with Opal Glow, which is the shimmery highlight in this palette, with a larger blending brush. This is the Sigma Powder Sweep F06. And I'm just gonna blend that on top of my cheekbones. Ooh, oh wow. Like I can immediately see that without a lot of building up. Ooh, that's a really pretty shade. I feel like this is a pretty universal highlight as well. I'm into it. It's not really glittery, which I like. It's just kind of like a beam of shimmer, but there's not a lot of like small glitter particles or anything. So this is definitely gonna be a daily product for me. I really, really wish that the packaging was a little bit more sturdy. I might see if I can depot these shades and put them in a Z palette, just because this makes me really nervous with powders, but I really like the shades and the performance. I mean, I think that looks great. So those are my thoughts on the 2 new palettes from Profusion. Again, these are both available at Target and online. I will link them below. They're part of their holiday collection, but I'm not sure whether or not they're limited edition. I know they do have some limited edition gift sets, but these products are sold separately. These 2, I'm really impressed with, especially with this highlight and contour palette. I mean, this is just a really nice, straightforward palette that gives you everything you need and no fluff. But the Wanderlust palette, this is probably gonna be a new recommendation that I give if people ask about colorful palettes at the drugstore, because these colors maintain their shade, you know, no matter what you're doing with them. They just look like how they're supposed to look, which is something so simple, but also very hard to find. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you wanna see more reviews on new releases this season, hit the thumbs up button and let me know if there's anything specific you wanna see in the comments below. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, become the newest member of the Slash Squad. It's free. And if you haven't already, hit the bell icon to turn on video notifications. If you don't tell YouTube what you wanna watch, then it will decide for you. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!